The leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari has bereft the southern region. This headline which says the need to support northerners agitations. Wow. Though I would say the northerners comprise of the Fulani and the Hausas, and I believe the Hausas are the majority. And who are these Hausas? I believe they are part of the marginalization, either they believe it or not, directly or indirectly. Prior to the emergent North is bleeding protest, the popular notion among the southern Nigerians was the infallibility of a Buhari administrative policy in the eyes of the northerners. An average southerner had the conception that the northern region would rather endure unfavorable and harsh political, economic, and social programs of the Buhari-led administration than castigating or portraying it bad in the public. They like covering themselves, either good or bad. They don't want to voice out so that they won't say that their region is faulty or their region has dilapidated. And in the truth of the matter, whether they believe it or not, they are deceiving themselves. The northerners are deceiving themselves. If they don't cry out, they will just die and perish like a chicken, and they wipe out the race of the northerners. The straw that broke the camel's back on the already north-south strained relationship and mutual distrust was the condemnation of the NSAS protest, which was popularly accepted in the north as a conspiracy by the south to overthrow the Buhari-led administration. The pro-SARS movement rallies organized in some northern states particularly seem to have given more credence to the unalloyed loyalty of the northerners towards the incumbent national government. As the North is bleeding protests were being staged across some northern states, many southerners perceived the insecurity outcry as an avenue to pay back the North in its coin. They therefore trivialized the protest and also by throwing their weight behind the Buhari-led administration in a bid to spite the northern protest or protesters. Whatever argument pushed in justification of the northerners stance on NSAS movement and other previous actions in solidarity with the incumbent government should not be a bone of contention at this period. The continuous portion of a blame would only serve the interests of the political elite and also not the common man in both regions. Rather, a keen attention should be paid at the degree both the northern and southern masses enjoy the dividends of good governance under the incumbent administration. But it's in south or north, the agenda of the upper echelons, upper chamber, Fulani Caliphate of Nigeria's political power structure is mutual. The motive to capture and also retain political power. Nigeria being a multi-ethnic and culturally diverse society is a fertile ground to breed the seed of ethno-religious hostilities. The same entity is full of potentialities of its ethno-religious pluralism is also managed in earnest for national integration. Unfortunately, the country's political elite has chosen to constant playing of ethnic cards to also retain political power ahead of national issues and also ahead of nation building. The Nigerian masses would continue to be on the receiving end until the recognition of social identity by ethnicity and religion is uprooted. And the northern elite or thereabout are acting on impunity, and the so-called gullible citizens are covering the atrocities of the elite. The Nigerian masses will continue to be on the receiving end until until the recognition of social identity by ethnicity and religion is uprooted. The ethnic tension between North and South is a well-crafted script by the elite to divert the common man's attention from pertinent issues related to their well-being and survival. But averagely, the northerners and southerners have continued to benefit little or nothing from successive governments. The unity, solidarity, consciousness, and proactiveness of this oppressed class is the panacea Yes, for their collective survival against social, political, and also economic security challenges. Binzak as his faculty of law has really inaugurated and also expanding more and expatiating more on the northern gullibility. I would say the southerners are really trying their possible best to cry out loud so that the international community would know, international organizations would know. Yes, and that is what it is. The northern, or let me say, the Fulani Caliphate, which is represented by the federal government led by Buhari, has tried to change the narrative so many times. As it is, they tried their possible best through Boko Haram, through insecurity, and also propagating the gospel of wickedness. I would say that because as it is, the Nigerian state is a state or a republic that is, also that also is embedded in democracy, in true federalism. But as it is, we were colonized by the British, and the British are, undergoing, or let me say, the practicing parliamentary system of government, of governance, which simply means that they will have a prime minister, and the prime minister is going to oversee the affairs of the nation. As it is, that is what we are supposed to adopt, but at the long run, just because of greed and selfishness, we adopted the United States democracy, and even the democracy, we are not practicing it the way it should, because there is federalism, and which is embedded in democracy, which says the democracy is the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And since it is being defined that way, it has been turned upside down in the dispensation of President Muhammadu Buhari. So it's no more democracy of the government for the people. Rather, is the Fulani government of the people, Fulani for the people, by the people, or thereabout, and the people is government of Fulani for Fulani and by the Fulanis. As it is, they believe they are number one citizens of the country. Just because they have their own person. I believe the narrative has been changed if God has not been for the Southerners, especially the coming out of Sunday Igboho and Nnamdi Kanu, that has really geared and steered reactions over and over again, especially from the international community, and also enlightening the people of Nigerian citizens at diaspora or in diaspora. I would say the Nigerian state and also the Southerners are very proactive towards bad governance, and that is why they are trying to change the narratives and coming through from the Boko Haram, invading people's farm in the southern region, calling themselves herdsmen. Until when the thing escalated, and the ESN and IPOB decided to delete and exit them out of the land of the southeast, and Sunday Igboho, his counterpart, also did the same, and that is the reason why the Buhari-led administration is bent on doing all their possible best to kill this entity, to kill Nnamdi Kanu in 2017, and they said he jumped bail, and also Sunday Igboho on July 1st, 2021, which his house was invaded. If they had succeeded, they would have said unknown gunmen. Yes, the Fulani Caliphate, the Fulani leaders are the problem of Nigeria as it is, directly or indirectly.